Okay, now for this poster, we're going to be making a burger ad. Now, obviously, if you were doing something else, you would type in the product that you were doing. But we're just going to type in burger and have a look here. And I think I'm going to choose this one because it's nice and simple and it looks pretty tasty. Okay, then I'm just going to do this background remover so it's a bit easier to work with. I'm going to center it into the middle of my design. And then what we're going to do is look for shadow here under elements. And then we're going to just add that. Okay, now I want to add a bit more texture here to make this a bit more interesting. So I'm going to search here under graphics for like a torn paper graphic, and that's sort of just going to help me to add a bit of texture to the bottom of my design here. I'm going to actually just change the color a bit more of like a white. Then I'm going to edit the background to be a nice dark brown. I'm going to see these colors here that match some of the burger tones. And then I'm just going to make sure that I've moved my torn paper under to the correct layer. And then I'm also going to make sure that my shadow is actually behind my burger, otherwise it's not really going to function properly as a shadow element. Okay, now I'm actually just going to resize this burger a little bit and move it a bit lower. And then I'm going to head over to text, click in add text, and I'm going to type in the word burger. Yes, this is basically how I did that effect that I just showed you with my think outside the box. So I'm basically just going to look for a nice bold font, maybe something like League Spartan. And then I'm just going to sort of balance it out to make sure that it fills the whole space available. Okay, now to get the effect that I'm looking for, I'm going to change this to white. And then I'm going to fiddle here the transparency and drop it nice and low. Just going to rotate a little bit, make sure that it's slightly bigger than my actual design. Now I've dropped the transparency a tiny bit more, and now what I'm going to do is just duplicate this element. Now it really makes sense to me that you do lie your first duplication well, because after that you just go and click the duplicate button and it's going to add exactly the same spacing set up on the first one, no matter how many times you click that, so it's really worth the while. Okay, now we're just going to select all of these and make sure that we move them, that they are actually behind our burger, because that is our main subject. That's what that is about. And yeah, this is actually starting to look pretty good. Check all that layering, already starting to happen. Okay, now I'm going to work on sort of my main heading now for my design. Now just to save myself time, because I'm in the top burger anyways, I'm just going to duplicate one of these elements behind. And then I'm just going to change the font here. I'm looking for more like a grungy type feel. Okay, then once it's sized properly, I'm going to just change the transparency back to 100% because I want now a nice strong white image. Now I'm going to add some more layering by doing a similar effect like I did in the background. I'm going to duplicate this element and then drop the transparency, not quite as those background ones. But I'm going to do the same thing. It's going to just help me layer again and create more interest here. This is going to work because I've got a very different font in. If it was the same thing, it probably would have been a bit clashing. But now because I am doing a different font, it's going to probably go good here. Okay, now I'm just going to move these down a little bit because there's a bit more text I want to add to the top here. I'm going to add a new text box and then I'm going to type in delicious. I'm going to resize that and move that to the top here. And then I'm going to change this font to something that's called Playwright. I think that's a bit more fun. And then so that I can have a bit more contrast, but also still match my theme, I'm going to choose one of these more sort of lighter brown tones that are inside the burger. Then we'll put it at the top, a little bit smaller. I hope it needs to get some nice contrast going on visually and also color-wise, while still sticking theme here. So now I'll try to make my design just pop a little bit more. I'm going to be adding some more elements. So I'm going to go here into my elements tab again under graphics. I'm going to type in glow light. It's going to help me to add some more elements, but I'm just going to make everything a bit smaller because I feel like it's a bit too big and I don't really have space around my design. Add some more glow lights, and these are just going to help me to sort of backlight and make it a bit more sparkly and fancy. Because I'm going sort of for this wow effect on this specific design. You don't have to do that in your designs, but this is specifically for the style that I'm going for here. Let's see what I'm doing here. I'm adding sort of the raw ingredients of the burger on top of these light glows. And the idea here is to put these out of focus just now so that it sort of creates this sort of mimicking effect. Like, you know, you take a photo with a camera and you have this light blurry background. But while sort of still bringing some nice color to this otherwise sort of brownish type design, while still staying on theme with the whole burger and this fancy idea, making it still seem fresh. This is sort of what I'm going for here. So I'm going to click on the element that I want you to work with here. I'm going to click on edit. And then over here, this is blur function. Now you can do either just one part or the whole image. In this instance, it'll be the whole image. Then I'm going to just set my blur to the amount that I feel happy with. And then I'm just going to click back and it will have applied. So I'm just going to reposition my light flows so that they're actually behind the right elements and where I want them. And then I'm just going to resize this delicious word just a bit bigger so that it's fitting in a bit better with my current layout now. This is really starting to get somewhere. Now I'm going to add my little price area here. I'm just going to add a circle to my design. Over to the right spot. Then I'm going to go to the border here. I'm going to actually set this dotted edge. Just check the size there so I've got it sort of like nice and fitting what I'm looking for here. Okay, now I'm going to add another text block here. And then I'll actually set this to the same font that I've got for my sort of main burger heading there. I'm going to resize that and just put it in my circle so we can actually start to work with that. And then this is going to be where I'm actually starting to now type my price in. Okay, so add in there only 90 Rand. That's the price I'm setting for this burger here. That is good. Now I feel like this color is actually a bit too dark, so I'm going to look for something a bit brighter. Just so I can stand a little bit more, because this is a very key part of our design. And then we're just going to make sure that we actually align the elements of the text, the two text blocks now, and the circle, so that they actually are well balanced and looking good as a group. Okay, so now we're actually going to start doing a mock-up of what the logo would be. So to do this, I'm going to need a bit of a background element for the logo to make it stand out. So I'm going to head over to elements and look on the basic shapes. And then there's sort of this banner image here. I'm going to choose that and just resize it. I'm going to choose the same color as I've got for the pricing, just so that is also like nice and congruent and standing out nicely against this busy background. Okay, now for the purpose of this exercise, really not going to focus on the logo too much. So I'm literally just going to type in logos. Let's just choose this MS Burgers. Why not? Then we're just going to change the color here to be a bit more contrasty. Maybe this nice brown that we've got in the background. And it'll go nicely against our little nice yellow little element here. That's looking good. Okay, now we need a bit of space for the bottom of my design here. So I'm just going to shuffle things around a bit, making sure it's still looking good and nice and balanced. But just making sure I have some space at bottom to work with for my sort of ordering section. Now again, I want this to stand out nicely. So I'm going to just add these rectangle blocks here just by adjusting the shaping here. I'm going to make it with a bit of a rounded corner. That's going to look quite nice. And so basically I'm just going to get it to the rough size that I want, and I'm going to duplicate it so that I can do my second element here. I'm going for sort of like a bit of an overlay effect here. So I'm going to change the coloring on this right hand block to the dark brown. And then I'm going to add in a text block now, and I'm just going to type in order. Make it that roughly to about the right size and location that I want that. And then we're going to have a look at some tweaks to fine tune that. First of all, I'm going to change the color of this order word so that it's matching the color block on the right. Also, what I want to do here is click on this button that says uppercase. So this really helps it just to be a bit more strong. This allows me that even if I'm typing or anything like that, whether I've got the shift on or not, it's going to be uppercase regardless. Now I'm just going to add a random number sequence. This would be the order number, for example, if you were to fit them. And then I actually want to change this yellow behind the order word so that it matches the price and the logo block, just to make it a bit more nice and balanced. And then I'm going to change the color of the font then for the number to be matching that as well, so that I've got a good nice contrast happening then. Okay, now we're really starting to get somewhere now. Now I just want to really start to work on this background a ton more, just to enhance it to really get nice feel. So I'm going to tap in texture here on my graphics element here. I'm going to choose this overlay. And I'm just going to resize it so that it's covering the whole of my entire design. Okay, so now that it's covering everything, we can start to tweak it now. So I'm actually going to make this into more of like a white color. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm going to my layering, and I'm going to pull it all the way down because I just want it to be over that sort of bland brown background that I've got right at the back. And so the idea here is that I can make sure it's only affecting that specific element. As you get to the end here, I'm just going to start making some final placement tweaks. I feel like things just shuffled around a little bit. I'm just to balance it out. But I mean, look at this. Look how much layering we've got. From that original just flat burger we had on the white background, we've really just enhanced this image and brought so much detail and sort of just narrative structure into this. Now, for the socials, there's this really cool app called BrandFetch. Now, instead of having to always go and download the images as PNGs and fiddle with them, you can just find it in here by typing in the sort of website or application that you want to use. And then the nice thing about that is it's actually an element that can be edited and just tweaked to just so fantastic, way easier. So for example, our Facebook logo here, we're going to start to tweak this so that it's actually matching our branding style here. We're going to just put it where we want it, tweak it around, and then we're going to basically just go in and do the exact same thing now, just for the Instagram logo, so that we can sort of have, like, let's just say Facebook and Instagram for the purpose of this example here at the top, and we can actually start to then fiddle with those. Now here it's a little bit of a different logo style, so we're just going to go again with this line option, and then I'm just going to add a circle behind, make sure that it's got the right color background that we've been using throughout this whole theme, and then we're just going to adjust the coloring and the placement so that we are going with sort of an overall look and feel, and that it's matching out quite nicely. Look at that. So I mean, you can really see how far this design has come. And I want to show you, like, as much as yes, this does have a lot of elements and parts to it, they are actually very basic. So I mean, the only really photos I have are being basically my burger and those little ingredient things, but everything else is basically just shapes, text, overlays, and I'm just really building up this layering quite nicely so that I've got a very deep image or deep narrative happening inside my actual design here. Okay, now basically what I want you to do is go and choose the product option that you think you would like to do, and then I want you to have a shot at this, like see how you can take quite a basic idea and then just building up layering using your graphics or text, all these different elements you've now seen how to use, and see how can you really enhance this and tell the biggest story of, are you excited about this product? Is it revolutionary? Is there some sort of element about it that's really special? And let's see how you can capture that in your design.